Hello and welcome. My name is Rocio Villaseñor. In this video, we're going to continue talking a little bit more about the parental projection period, or the unknowing parental projection period to be more precise. We did a little bit of talking about that in the last video, where we discussed the several different parental projections or assignments that are given to us by our parents. This time, we're going to talk about how the way that we are born affects the rest of our life. It's not the same to be born through natural birth than to be born, for example, through cesarean or using forceps, or if your mom didn't quite make it to the hospital. Much of this information is given to us, or it was researched by Dr. Salomon Selam or Salomon Seyam. For more information, I'm going to write his name right here so that you can have the opportunity to research his name. However, most of this information is in French. Some of it is translated into Spanish. I'm not sure how much of this information is actually in English, but I do want to give credit to his work because he has given lots of time and effort to this subject matter. And so let's continue. Let's talk about what is the meaning of birth. For example, if someone was born through a prolonged labor, this is when everything is fine and labor starts, but for some reason the labor delays and the baby is not having the opportunity to be born, and there is distress in the fetus. So at one point, the doctors decide that they have to do a cesarean. And so what happens here is that there is an imprint in the baby. As the baby is going through this process, there is an imprint in the subconscious mind of the baby. And the way that turns out later on in life is that these are people whose projects develop, but almost always encounter difficulties to conclude them, because that is the message they received when they were in the womb as they were being delivered. It's almost like something happens along the way when they have projects that impairs their success of the project. And this happens often in their lives. If that is your case and you know you were born through a prolonged labor, it's time just to become conscious of it, to realize why is it that it is been happening to you all your life. And bringing it into the light will change that reality for you. At least it will make you understand why is it that it happens to you. Another form of labor is fast labor. This is when people don't quite make it to the hospital. In other words, when mom and dad didn't quite make it to the hospital and the baby was born in the middle of the road. This is people that have a sense of urgency, because that's the information that was lodged in their brain, in their subconscious mind. So what happens is that they go through life having this sense of urgency. If this is your case, just know where it's coming from so you can bring it into the light and realize it. In addition to that, this can also, if it's very severe, your sense of urgency, it can also affect the thyroid. And how is affecting the thyroid is because the thyroid is the organ, is a part of the body that is like a clock for our body. So it can develop hyperthyroidism, and this is something that if it's your case, know where it's coming from and just resolve it by becoming consciously aware of it. And another form of labor is called delayed labor. And this is when mom goes past the 9-month period and the baby is not coming out, it's not being born. In this case, what happens is usually there is a subconscious memory in the mom lodged in that comes from past generations where at the time the baby was born, the baby died. And so she associates birth with death of the baby. And so in order to protect the baby from dying, she wants to hold on to the baby. If this is the case, what happens is the memory that it gets imprinted in the subconscious mind of that baby to be born generates a feeling throughout the life of that baby that creates a sense of failure for that baby. These are people also that are very slow-paced people. They feel defenseless. They make others wait for them, or at least they have the sense that they always make people wait for them. And they also feel like life is difficult. If this is your case, just know where it's coming from. Just know that it is not you. It's just the way that you were born. Induced labor is another form of labor. In this case, these people who were born through induced labor, they go through life feeling that they have a difficulty to initiate projects. Why? Because they didn't initiate their own birth. It was initiated by someone else, a third party. In this case, it could be the doctor. They also feel that others have to start projects for them, especially their parents. If they're children, they feel that they cannot finish the homework by themselves. They have to have some help. They don't go looking for opportunities, but rather they wait for opportunity to come to them. And this is very interesting because they also feel like they're not going to go searching for their own partners or their own mates. They wait for their mates to find them. So if this is your case, know that this is related to how you were born. You don't have to continue being this way. Just bring this into the light, bring this into consciousness, and make the conscious choice to change that. Cesarean birth is the next kind of birth that we're going to talk about. As you know, a cesarean is when there is an intervention to bring the baby out by the doctor, by a third party. In this case, the imprint or the message that the baby receives is that people have to help them to finish their project because they were not able to initiate it and finish it. They needed some help. So these are people that go through life feeling that they have difficulty changing the course of their path or changing friends, changing the environment where they live. They also have difficulty completing projects. In some cases, they need help making decisions. And all of this can sometimes lead to low self-esteem. If this is your case, know where it's coming from. So liberate yourself from feeling awful about the fact that you need help. Bring this into light, bring this into consciousness, and know that this doesn't have to be this way. That you can make changes now, that you can be different, and that you can actually finish your own projects yourself. Finally, we're going to talk about birth by forceps. This is when a baby needs help to be born, and they need to use forceps to pull the baby out of the womb by pulling his or her head out of the womb. So this is a very painful experience or intervention for the baby. And the message that gets lodged there is that there is also difficulty to give birth to something new in life. This is people that go through life feeling difficulty to give birth to new projects, difficulty to move on without any help. They don't like to be controlled or manipulated by others. There is also a fear of pain and sometimes physical contact. And they go through life feeling that no matter what they do, it is not good enough. Why? Because when they were born, this is exactly what happened. They actually tried to be born on their own, but they couldn't do it fast enough, well enough. No matter what they did, it was not good enough. They actually needed help from a third party. So if this is your case, just know that it doesn't have to be this way, that it is because you were born this way, that you've been attracting these, you could say, these experiences into your life, and mostly it is because of your perception, because of that memory within your subconscious mind. It is time to just bring it up into consciousness and change it, and change your, heal yourself from that perception. Change completely. And that's it. If you like this video, like it and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much and have a great day.